That's what we're going for. If it's not hit, the pass is unfinished. So you'll take it back to your partner, your peer, your teacher, and get some critique on it. There's 3 different types of critique that you can do. Gallery critique is exactly what it is. Pinning loads of students' work around the room and getting the students to critique it, going around putting post-it notes on. Still keeping these 3 rules: be kind, be specific, be helpful. And there's an in-depth critique, which is where we'll take one piece of work from a group. Yeah, we'll stick it on the board, we'll stick it under a visualiser, and we'll have an in-depth critique of that piece of work that's going to help that group, but also help everyone else. And we've got a peer critique. Now, I'm going to read another quote, and this time I can do it in Ron Burger's accent, so you know what it sounds like. On the legs, no, I won't do that. Right. He says, I think that the typical strategy of pairing off kids to critique one another is not often particularly useful unless it's preceded by a formal class critique that gets students focused and excited about the specific dimension of writing. So he's saying it's not just good enough to have this peer critique, you must have this in-depth critique before, during, afterwards. And if all the students are working on the same piece of work, then it's going to help everyone. I had an attempt at project-based learning last year. Not as good as other people in the room, but I quite enjoyed it. I think the kids did. And public critique is essential for project-based learning, where they'll produce something, and with this case they're producing some Year 9 work. They're in Year 7, they're producing some Year 9 work for students. They're going to exhibit it at parents' evening. And we had this idea of public critique. And what was really interesting is what the process, how that made the students feel. I don't know if you can read at the back. How did you feel about the public critique session? I think it was very helpful, yet really critical. The information was useful though. Next question, the public critique session, was it useful? If yes, then how? We think it was useful because it helped us with what went well, what we need to change, and next steps. I nearly cried when I saw that. And that is not my writing, by the way. There's another one. We felt like it helped us as it improved our work, and that is public critique. The reason why I feel that the students don't take it on the chin and get upset about it is because we've got these rules: being kind, being specific, and being helpful. And the 4th other rule, the hidden rule, is that we're hard on content but soft on the person. So we're never critiquing me. Of course you might do that, that's fine. But we're critiquing my work. We're not critiquing a group or a student, we're critiquing their work. So then we shouldn't get into an instance where the students are feeling upset, worried, confused about that, because we're only critiquing their work. This is based on Sadler's work. This is years old. Why critique works is when you give the student critique, be it from the teacher, be it from their peers, they must have the opportunity to act on it. There's no point giving critique. So we need to make sure that the student receives the feedback, the critique, and make sure they have time to read the feedback, understand it and use it, and also that they're willing and able. And I think that goes down to the launching of the public critique. This is a little side issue that I've been thinking about for a couple of weeks. eBay. Is that Twitter? Mm-hmm. Twitter. Facebook. The critique on these 3 are very different. Because, might be a bit controversial here, we sometimes get quite sycophantic tweets. Wow, this is really good, yeah. Lovely work, great stuff, yeah. Facebook, LOL, or whatever it is, or smiley face, the like button. As opposed to the eBay critique, which can be quite negative, quite positive, but it's to the point. And if you think about that 4th rule, that unwritten rule about being hard on the content, soft on the person, You're giving feedback about the object, aren't you? About the delivery that you've had. Has that person put it in the post on the time? Is it packaged all right? You're not critiquing the person. So to me, that is proper critique. Because we're critiquing the work or the learning, as we're talking about, rather than this. Just a little side issue.
Yeah, that was the best full English breakfast I've had since Gary Wilmot's wedding.
It was bloody superb.
Oh yeah, I'd have that 3 times a day if I could, but I'd be dead!
It'd kill you.
Yeah, it's cholesterol. Scottish people eat it. A few of them make 60. Why the holes in my Daily Mail?
I would call up, look. I cut out the heads of you two, and then I put on top of space clothes.
Oh, I see. And the idea is that you two are going into space. Yes, an interesting thought. Oh, you should say this to the fan club.
I already have.
You're not just sexy, you're also a very good fan club member.
I also like to tell them that my boyfriend is a very good friend with Bono.
Yes, yes, I am.
But you have to introduce me.
Yeah.
Can I put in journal that I am a very good cook of full English breakfast?
Yes, you can. I've made a few notes. Yes, bacon, 10 on 10. Butter mushrooms, bingo. Black pudding, snap. Minor criticism, more distance between the eggs and the beans. I may want to mix them, I want that to be my decision. Use a sausage as a breakwater. But nitpicking, on the whole, a very good effort, 7 on 10. Let's make love.
That was the best example I could find. That's the best public critique. Kind, specific, and helpful. Use a sausage. So this is it. Public critique. Be kind, be specific, be helpful. Why do we do it? Well, for me, we need to build classrooms where we have got architects and scientists and editors and mathematicians and historians and artists and designers. We can have a formal critique where I or you as a teacher will talk to them about public critique, and we critique each other's work. But it's the informal critique that happens in the classroom when we suddenly get the culture. And it does work, and it takes a while to launch because it is a culture. It's not an activity, it's not a tool. We do critique very well as teachers, and yeah, we do peer assessment, but this is taking it to the next level. So the culture will become a student saying, is that all right? Do you think I need to improve that? What about that? Have I worded that right? Can you have a look at this? That's what we want. That's a culture. And that doesn't take 20 minutes. That takes a long, long while. And you're probably thinking, right, okay, Tait, this is very well. I like your clips. I didn't like you talking, but the clips were good. Should have shown 40 minutes time partridge. I did think about doing that. But what about the teaching? Where does the teaching come in? I personally can't think of a better way to teach students how to write a really good essay or a really good scientific write-up or deliver a fantastic presentation than critiquing somebody's work. Because you're sharing the expertise around the whole classroom, you're enabling that student to improve, and you're enabling everyone else to improve. There's some work on the tables that we've just laid out, myself and Amy. I started public critique with my Year 7s about 3 weeks ago, and this was the very first lesson. So basically, I got them to come in, we were looking at solids, liquids and gases, draw some particles on one side. Then I talked about public critique. We spent 30 to 40 minutes in detail, me talking about, and I don't do it very often, this is not normally what my lessons are like, talking about public critique. And we watched some X Factor auditions. I'm not obsessed with X Factor, but it just keeps coming up, I don't know why. And we talked about, right, the audition was good, but how could we make it better? What would we say to the people? We talked about the judges, the critiques, and they weren't being kind, specific or helpful. And we talked about that there was one lady that kept on losing the note but we were specific because she lost a note towards the end. And we were saying helpful, and the kids would come up with some fantastic ideas about helpful, like she could practice more, or she could do it in front of 2 or 3 people and they could give us some advice. We then gave each other some feedback, gave each other some peer critique, and then the important bit, they had another few minutes to try and improve it. Now I've got 2 sets here. There's a, I hate this, there's a top set and there's a bottom set. I'll just shut this door. What I mean by top set and bottom set is that there's a pile of work from kids that have got better Key Stage 2 maths and English results than the other pile. That's our bottom and top set. Have a look at it. Discuss the quality of the public critique. And I think this is quite, I don't know, you might disagree, it's quite brave of me because the kids had 20 minutes or 40 minutes of me talking about public critique. Is it effective? Is it kind? Is it specific? Is it helpful? And discuss the quality of the improvements based on that standard work. Have the kids listened or read the feedback? So just leave that with you for 3 or 4 minutes. I don't know if there's any scientists in there. Loads of them. I should put my hand up too. Sorry. And you'll find instances where my Year 7s have been too kind, perhaps. Yeah, grab some more. So that could be good critique, but has that student? So that's really helpful, isn't it? Yeah, that's really helpful. But has, you can't tell what was done. It's quite large. You can imagine what the third year on the league, fourth year on the league. We've just been told by Mark Anderson that I've overrun. I do apologise about that. That's me, that's my Twitter handle. If you want to follow me, that's my blog that's got a lot of stuff about public critique. Feel free to ask me any questions now, during the Teach Me, after Teach Me. And I hope you found it interesting.